He was promoted to sergeant in 2001 and assigned to the traffic division in 2002, where he has led the motor unit ever since. Sergeant Nelson does all of our escorts for major events, including the Greystone event that we just had, the Regions event, SEC baseball, and various citywide activities. He's a certified motorcycle instructor and has trained over 100 motor officers from local and statewide agencies. He's respected as a subject matter expert in traffic accident investigation, and he's obviously investigated hundreds of serious crashes, some with fatalities, which is unfortunate, but we have to have expertise there as well. He is also a certified public safety scuba instructor, and he's trained numerous divers within the department and across Alabama. He started the dive and rescue team in 2006, and he has been in charge of that group as well. Sergeant Nelson is a former advisor of our Police Explorers program, and he's an accomplished competitive motorcycle rider and has earned first place in police motorcycle competition at least 5 times. His name was Mr. Rodeo in 2017 and 2019, and he's in the elite division winner in the National Police Motorcycle Rodeos. So, gosh, another gentleman that we've had an opportunity to work together with for a long time. What an outstanding individual, very, very competent. You've seen him on that motorcycle many, many years. I can't believe you haven't given it up by now, but he's involved in so many things that I can't name them all. We're not all on here, but if there's a major crisis that occurs in this city, he's always there, and it's a comfort to have him there. He's an outstanding police officer, and Colin, his wife, is a dedicated servant as well in our E91 Communications Center, and it's kind of an all-in family affair, right? We are very, very proud of both of you. But I guess his most notable accomplishment, he has led his team to victory in the 2023 Whole Scoop Ice Cream Eating Challenge. They thought I was going to say donut challenge, but I didn't go there. Congratulations to y'all. Let's see. And we have tonight National Law Enforcement Memorial Week. And I'd like to invite down Chief Durzis, Executive Officer Kenny Fountain, Sergeant Stippler, Sergeant Pearson, Detective Shipley, Detective Bonham, Officer Cockrell, and Officer Cooper. If y'all would come down and take a stand right in the front there. And we would ask the city attorney if he would please read the proclamation for the National Law Enforcement Memorial Week of May 11th through the 17th.
Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation which designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week in which that date falls is National Police Memorial Week. And whereas the members of the Police Department of the City of Hoover play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the citizens of our community. And whereas it is important that all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their police department, and that members of our police department recognize their duty to serve the people by safeguarding life and property, by protecting them against violence or disorder, and by protecting the innocent against deception and the weak against oppression or intimidation. And whereas our police department has grown to be a modern and scientific law enforcement agency which unceasingly provides a vital public service. Now, therefore, we, Frank Mercado, Mayor, and John B. Lyda, City Council President, and on behalf of the residents of the City of Hoover, do hereby proclaim the week of May 11th through 17th, 2025 as National Law Enforcement Memorial Week in the City of Hoover, and encourage all citizens to observe the week with law enforcement officers past and present who by their faithful and loyal devotion to their responsibilities have rendered a dedicated service to their communities and proclaim May 15th, 2025 as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of those law enforcement officers who, through their courageous deeds, have made the ultimate sacrifice in service to their community or have become disabled in the performance of duty.
I believe that concludes our recognitions for the
Thank you,
evening.
Mayor.
Thank
Well
you, sir.
done. Now call on Ms. Cornett. I believe she has a revenue update.
Okay. So I wanted to give an update on our revenues through the 7th period of the year. On the first slide, I know the print is very small, but this one pager is here to identify the top producing revenues for the city. So this doesn't represent all of them, but you can see we have 3 years worth of data with our top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 revenue producing items. I think we all know that sales and use tax and SSUT represents the largest proportion of revenue stream for the city. But probably the biggest takeaway from this one sheet is that as we consider 7 months worth of revenue, when you look at the percentages down at the bottom, we are 58% of the way through the year, and there is one revenue item, it's the lodging tax, that lags behind that at 53%. I don't have graphs to show you the lodging because it's one of the smaller revenue streams of our major ones. But I do want to point out that even though we're only at 53%, while 58% into the year, we're still up almost 2% over where we were last year at this time. On the next slide, you'll see with our sales and use, really tried to break our brick and mortar sales tax and use tax separate from our SSUT. So the goal of these next few slides really is to provide comparative data month to month for the last 4 years. You'll notice it's the blue bar that is the current year. We're up a little bit over last year, almost 2% for sales and use tax, which I would say is probably flat. But on the next slide, if you look at that, month-to-month comparison for SSUT. So this is our online sales tax that's collected from what Alabama Department of Revenue calls marketplace facilitators. This chart shows that April this year is a little bit down. It's almost 3% down. I do have an explanation for that because that didn't quite look right. We were able to reach out to ADOR, and they confirmed that there was a major marketplace facilitator that was not included in the settlement for April. Our settlements from Alabama Department of Revenue for SSUT lag 2 months behind. So with this being April, this is really related to February sales. So down 3%, but as we look at for the year, our sales tax and SSUT are still going to be a little over 3% of an increase. Moving to the next slide, so our real property, license and permits, and then also gross receipts. So each of these kinds of taxes have some variability in when those collections happen. We're up 43% for the month of April over last April, but that probably doesn't really mean a whole lot, just because you can see over the years just a wide variability of collections for real property. Same is true if you look at the license and permits. We have a heavy concentration on the next slide of revenues that come in the months of January and February. April's up 37%. But again, that's really not that helpful to look at a month-to-month comparison for that one or for gross receipts. So right about now, you're probably wondering, why did you include these slides in the presentation? I just wanted to be consistent because that's what we've been presenting. Gross receipts and franchise tax is up 65% April over last April. Probably the better indicators are our year-to-date trends. So on the next slide, you'll start to see where do we stand for the first 7 months, October through April. So sales and use is up 2.8%, which is trending a little bit higher than what we saw in the early months of this year. On the next slide, you'll see the same thing for SSUT. Trending up, SSUT is up 12.5% for the first 7 months, even though we know that a big chunk of revenue for April's SSUT was not included there. If we take those two categories together and just consider SSUT and sales and use, we're up a little over 3.5% for the first 7 months compared to the previous year. Real property is up 3% to 15 million, almost 15 million, 0.3. Your license and permits down just a tick, 0.003, so that's 0.3%. One of the things I did want to note is that at the end of April, we sent out the second reminder notices for licenses. So any new license revenues that might have been prompted by those second notices have not had a chance to come in yet. So I would still consider that to be flat. And then the last one with our gross receipts and franchise tax, 3.1% for the first 7 months compared to the prior year. So all in all, I think some positive trends for our revenues, which is good news. Questions?
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Cornett?
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, ma'am. We'll next receive an update on our audio and video system from Mr. Jason Cope. Mr. Cope and company.
Council, Mr. President. As you're aware, late February, we had a power issue here that damaged about 6 or 7 components in this room specifically. We worked with our vendor. Jeff is with the ESB. We worked with our vendor. They came out and evaluated the system, looked at all the pieces that were damaged, and determined what we needed to do to fix the equipment. We worked with them in our risk department to start the process of ordering the replacement equipment. We had delays with the manufacturers, but the equipment finally came in about 2 weeks ago, I believe. So now we're actually in the development queue for ESB to build the brains behind it. All the pieces are not just plug-and-play components. They have a centralized brain that has to be custom coded, and so that's where we're at with that. The promised delivery date right now is August 1st. That does not mean it will not be before that. Pardon? Correct. Okay. As part of that process, ESB also brought out the existing mic system as a loaner capability. I know there were some issues last Thursday night that were quite problematic. ESB and their team came out today and adjusted all the mics and made some adjustments to them as well too. So far they've been working the way we expected them to this evening with volume and sound. So it's just a matter of constantly tweaking until we get the full-blown system in place. And I'm open to questions, and so is Jeff if you guys have some.
I'll just add that I know this is a challenge, but we very much appreciate this and appreciate the patience of the public as we work through the challenge between now and August, if not before.
Yes, sir.
Any other comments or questions from the council?
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. We'll now move to our consent agenda, which is presented as items 1 through 10. These items will be read as one and voted on as one block, unless, of course, a member of the body or a member of the public would like an item removed. Any member of the body like to have removed any item 1 through 10? Is there any member of the public here that would like to? Speak on it. Yes, sir. Which item?
The first one.
All right, we'll remove item number 1 to the regular agenda, and we'll have public comment on that one at the time.
Thank you.
Any others tonight? Very good. Mr. Corley, if you'll read items 2 through 10.
Item 2 approves the minutes from the April 21st, 2025 council meeting and the May 1st work session and the May 5th council meeting. Item 3, Resolution 845825 approves a 020 restaurant, retail, liquor, alcohol license for Maharaja Indian Cuisine, doing business as Barachi, located at 2798 John Hawkins Parkway, Suite 108, Hoover, Alabama. Resolution 845125 appoints Jennifer Paepcke to the Public Park and Recreation Board of the City of Hoover effective June 10th, 2025, to fill an unexpired term ending on September 30th, 2025. Resolution 845925 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a service agreement with Willow Products Company for scheduled maintenance on equipment located at the City of Hoover Detention Facility. Resolution 846025 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a lease and service agreement with Safe Haven Baby Boxes for a Safe Haven Baby Box to be located at Fire Station 1. Resolution 846125 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a contract with Stryker for ProCare services for Life Pack 15s for 1 year. Resolution 846225 amends the budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2025 for the purchase of a new Christmas tree for City Hall, as shown on Exhibit A to the resolution. Resolution 846425 authorizes Mayor Brocato to execute a contract with Schroeder's Lawn and Landscape, LLC, for the installation and maintenance of landscape improvements along Lorna Road. Resolution 8155C-25 amends the temporary moratorium on certain new businesses within the City of Hoover, Alabama, and extends this moratorium until December 31st, 2025.
Mr. President, I move for approval of this consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the consent. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. We are joined tonight by our newly appointed, who will take her seat on the Park and Rec Board on June 1st. I'd like to make welcome Ms. Jennifer Paepcke. Jennifer? Jennifer's joined by her children and her husband, John. We join her down here. You're welcome to join her. We'd love for you to have you. And we'll get a picture with the family, Mayor, if we can do after she speaks to us for a moment.
I'm actually not the speaker of the family.
You got it, girl.
As John said, I'm Jennifer Paepcke. I've lived in Hoover over 17 years. I'm a media strategist for Salem Media Reps, who represent national influencers and podcasters. I love my community, and I love to be able to participate in the community. Currently, I teach a 9th grade small group at Hunter Street Baptist Church. I have held several positions on PTO boards, and I have won several championship games coaching girls softball out at Hoover Central, and that is my passion, and I love softball and the girls. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to work with the current board and map out their vision and to be able to contribute to the Hoover Parks and Rec.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't get away without a picture.
Oh.
And a family, please, please, please. Jack?
Disappointed no cowboy hats.
Yeah, well. Congratulations. We'll now move to our regular agenda, beginning with item number 1, the payment of bills. Any questions or comments from the body on that item?
Mr. President, I move to pay the bills.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Mr. Hamrick.
Thank you.
Good evening. Paul Hamrick, Meadowbrook. I don't know if anyone else can relate to this, but I think I would quit worrying so much if I wouldn't read so much news. It's just, it keeps me up. And in the last week, Mayor, I read a story that you were in on ABC 3340. And the quote that really stuck out to me was you saying that you run the most transparent administration in the history of Hoover. And you know that's not true, don't you? Well, and this payment of the bills is exactly part of what I'm talking about. You know, you look at it, it's kind of innocuous. You think maybe they're paying a utility bill or something of that nature, but a lot of money is getting, public money is getting spent under this innocuous payment of bills. And, you know, I really don't think such a generic term meets the requirements of the open meetings law, but regardless, let me give you an example of what's hidden away in this payment of bills. American Express cards of everywhere from $400 to $1,200 to $2,000 to there's a couple on here for $4,000 and $5,000. Who has these credit cards and what are they spending them on? Is anyone looking at these receipts to even see if they're, you know, public business? We can't find them. I can't get them anywhere. I don't know that they are. And that stuff really starts to matter. And I'll give you another example of something I read in the news that, Mayor, it's another one of your quotes, bragging about Hoover having a AAA bond rating. And that is important. That bond rating starts going down, it can end up impacting this city by millions of dollars in interest. But here's the problem with you drawing attention to that. There's two big things that have happened since Hoover received that really solid rating, as good as you can get. First thing that happened is the debt of this city has increased by 300%. And I think everyone just saw what happened to the United States of America, where their debt has gotten so bad that they've lost their credit rating. That's what happens. But then the second thing that happened that I tried to speak out against is, Mayor, you did the drunken sailor option. You raided the reserves of this city. And 300% increase in debt and raiding the reserves, which is one of the main reasons you get a good rating, that's going to end up costing us all money. And Mayor, I don't mean just to be critical. I'm
Thank you,
saying
Mr.
things I
Hamrick.
hope
Anyone else
will
have
make a
comments tonight on this item?
Thank you.
We have a motion and second for approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. We will now begin with the regular agenda. Item number 11, resolution number 8454-25, Mr. Corbett.
This resolution informs the Alabama Department of Environmental Management of the following actions regarding the Municipal Water Pollution Prevention Program for the Inverness Wastewater Treatment Plant. First, reviewed the Municipal Water Pollution Prevention Annual Report as attached to Exhibit 1 to the resolution. Second, directed the continued proper operation and maintenance of all wastewater facilities to maintain effluent requirements contained in the permit and prevent the bypass and overflow of raw sewage within the collection system or at the treatment plant.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 8454-25.
Second.
We have a motion and second for approval. Any questions or comments from the body? Any questions or comments from the public tonight? Yes, ma'am. Mr. Welch will allow comments.
KT Thomas, Matt's mom, Scout Creek. While this is a draft, the council is being asked to approve sending this report to ADEM as an official document representing the city. There are errors. Some are small, some are large. And I think that before you send this to ADEM, you need to have a good handle on what's in the report. The process didn't capture the errors, and that is a major concern because it's something that's becoming systemic. I think Mr. Anderson would suggest that multiple editors reading his articles make them better. Mr. Welch, I want to say to you that I don't publish something unless I have multiple people read it for me because I make mistakes. So this is a comment about the report and not the individual and the process. So I hope you'll accept my comments as productive. The packet, page 82, has an error that's probably due to spacing. The N in upgrading is missing. Page 63, sanitary sewer outflow 0021-1854 is missing. Page 80, grammatical error, development should be developments. Page 91, our personnel listed for Riverwalk, but the section that it's in is actually Inverness. Page 104, the date 8/4/24 and the SOS number seem to both be incorrect. So I think those things need to be corrected before you can approve the report to go to ADEM.
Thank you very much. Mr. Reeves, Mr. Welch, do you see those as material changes that need to be made before a vote?
No, sir, not at all.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from the public tonight? We have a motion and second for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 12, Resolution 8455-25. Mr. Corley.
This resolution informs the Alabama Department of Environmental Management of the following actions regarding the municipal water pollution prevention program for the River Chase wastewater treatment plant. First, reviewed the municipal water pollution prevention annual report attached as Exhibit 1 to the resolution. And second, directed the continued proper operation and maintenance of all wastewater facilities to maintain effluent requirements contained in the permit and prevent the bypass and overflow of raw sewage within the collection system or at the treatment plant.
Mr. President, I move for approval of resolution number 8455-25.
Second.
We have a motion and second for approval. Comments or questions from the body? Any comments from the public tonight? Yes, ma'am.
KT Thomas, Scout Creek. Page 104, the date in column 4 of the table is 2025. The report is for 2024. Page 104, column 5, 1754. The outflow number does not match the SSO report, which is 1854. And the dates are August and May, probably another error. So the question is the SSO report missing for River Chase, or is it just numbered and labeled incorrectly? This report says Heather Lake, which I believe is in Inverness, not in River Chase. Page 126, development should be developments. And finally, the elephant in the room. The report says there are no new developments in River Chase for 2 to 3 years. Does this include Riverwalk? Page 127 states improvements, upgrades, and other major projects are funded through existing funds, current user fees, and impact/connection fees. Is this referencing the $6.1 million approved in 2025, or is the system actually able to run for 15 years on the current budget? Page 128 says that River Chase will go 15 to 20 years of useful life. So why do we have emergency repairs at River Chase?
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Reeves, Mr. Welch, I'll ask again, any material changes you'd like to make before a vote?
No, sir.
Very good, thank you. We have a motion and another comment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Paul Hambrick again from Middlebrook. That's a little shocking. And I worked at ADEM for a number of years, and yeah, there's issues of whether that's materialistic, but there's a bigger issue too. It reflects this city. Does it not matter that it's accurate or not? Mayor? Hello, Mayor. Oh, okay. You didn't have anything to do with this?
It's a vote of the council, Mr. Hamrick. Do you have any comment about the item before the council?
Yes. Does accuracy not matter? Wow. Thanks for bringing this up to us.
Any other comments from the public? We have a motion and second for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Item number 13 is resolution number 8465-25. The council is informed that one vehicle has been removed, and as we heard Thursday night, as we always try to do, work with our residents on issues such as this. One has been removed, and the city's willing to work with the resident to remove others. So there has been a request from city staff to withdraw this item from the agenda, so I will entertain a motion for withdrawal of resolution number 8465-25.
Mr. President, I will move to withdraw resolution 8465-25.
Second.
We have a motion and a second for withdrawal. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say nay. The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Item number 14, resolution number 8447-25, Mr. Corley.
This grants conditional use approval with conditions shown in the Exhibit 2 to the resolution for an artisanal beer and wine bar for the property located at 3601 Market Street, Suite 101, Hoover, Alabama.
Mr. President, I move to approve resolution number 8447-25.
Second.
We have a motion and second for approval. This does require a public hearing. We'll open the public hearing by asking the council if they have any comments or questions on the item. Any member of the public here who would wish to speak about this item? Seeing none, we will close the public hearing. We have a motion and a second for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Ayes have it, the motion carries. Item 15 is resolution number 8448-25. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval with conditions shown in Exhibit 2 to the resolution for the sales, service, and rental of golf carts, as well as the option for temporary outdoor cart displays for the property located at 508 Mineral Trace, Hoover, Alabama.
Mr. President, I move to approve resolution number 8448-25.
Second.
With a motion and second, we will open the public hearing and ask if the council has comments on this item. Any member of the public here to speak on this conditional use? Seeing none. Motion and second is on the table for approval. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the motion carries. Item 16 is resolution number 8365-25. Mr. Corley.
This resolution grants conditional use approval with conditions shown in Exhibit 2 to the resolution for the change in classification from daycare home to group care home for the property located at 3599 Deerfield Drive, Hoover, Alabama.
Mr. President, I move to approve resolution number 8365-25.
Second.
I have a motion and second for approval. We'll open the public hearing for the conditional use. Any questions or comments from the body? Any from the public tonight? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed,
Nay.
Nay.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the item, please.
Councilor Posey,
Aye.
Councilor Sweeney,
Nay.
Councilor Driver,
Nay.
Councilor Middlebrooks,
Aye.
Councilor McClinton,
Aye.
Councilor Lyda.
Nay. With a vote of 3 ayes and 3 nays, the motion fails. Item 17 is ordinance number 25-2675, which is up for immediate consideration.
This ordinance amends Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-6 of the Hoover Municipal Code to move the regularly scheduled council meetings to the second and fourth Monday of each month, and to move the regularly scheduled Board of Zoning Adjustment meeting to the third Monday of each month. Additionally, the ordinance amends Chapter 2, Article 2, Section 2-29 to reflect the regularly scheduled council meetings being on the second and fourth Mondays of each month.
Mr. President, I move to suspend the rules for immediate consideration.
Second.
We have a motion and second for suspension of rules. I'll remind the body that this does require a unanimous consent to move forward. Madam Clerk, if you'll please call the roll on the motion.
Councilor Posey,
Aye.
Councilor Sweeney,
Aye.
Councilor Driver,
Aye.
Councilor Middlebrooks,
Aye.
Councilor McClinton,
Aye.
Councilor Lyda.
Aye. With a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays, we will take up this item tonight for ordinance number 26-2675 as read by Mr. Corley. I entertain a motion for adoption of the ordinance.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of ordinance number 25-2675.
Second.
We have a motion and second for adoption. Any questions or comments from the body?
Just one, Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
On the public agenda that was originally published, it had work sessions moving to 6 p.m. But I see on here that it's been corrected to a 5:30 p.m. start, so I just wanted to make that notation.
Very good. Thank you, sir. Any other comments tonight? Any comments from the public on this item? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilor Posey,
Aye.
Councilor Sweeney,
Aye.
Councilor Driver,
Aye.
Councilor Middlebrooks,
Aye.
Councilor McClinton,
Aye.
Councilor Lyda.
Aye. With a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays, the motion passes and the ordinance is adopted. I would add that this is effective June 1st, so we will take this up beginning, the date change and time change will be effective with our first meetings in June. Item 18, ordinance number 25-2676, Mr. Corley.
This ordinance amends Chapter 2, Article 1, Section 2-6 of the Hoover Municipal Code to move the regularly scheduled planning and zoning meeting to the second Monday of each month at 6 p.m. and the work session on the second Monday of each month at 5:30 p.m.
Mr. President, I move for suspension of rules for immediate consideration.
Second.
We have a motion and second for suspension of rules. Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the motion.
Counselor Posey,
Aye.
Counselor Sweeney,
Aye.
Counselor Driver,
Aye.
Counselor Middlebrooks.
Aye.
Counselor McClinton,
Aye.
Counselor Lyda.
Aye. With a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays, the motion is adopted. We will now consider item number 18, ordinance number 25-2676, and we will entertain a motion for adoption.
Mr. President, I move for adoption of ordinance number 25-2676.
Second.
We have a motion and second for adoption. Any comments or questions from the body? Any comments from the public tonight? Mr. Smith?
Gene Smith, Magnolia Run. Is that for planning and zoning meeting or the work session? It was my understanding it was for the work session, because 30 minutes isn't long for a planning and zoning meeting, especially if they have a difficult agenda.
If the meeting is at, the work session's at 5:30 and the meeting's at 6.
Is it 6 on the second Monday?
That's correct.
But isn't the council
Oh,
meeting on the second
hold on.
Monday?
Yes, sorry. We'll put this back on for the next one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting old, but I'm not
No,
quite that
I had
confused.
had it for the second because that's where it's at now, so didn't realize that it's a
All right,
second thing.
thank you.
Thank you.
The intention is to make it the third Monday, right, Madam Clerk?
This would be the first Monday,
The
but it
first.
starts in July.
Okay.
So we have time to do this one.
Could we not make a motion to amend it?
You can make the motion to amend it.
Let's go ahead and do that tonight. Entertain a motion to amend the ordinance to reflect. Dr. Middlebrooks, you want to make the motion?
Sure. Motion to amend ordinance 25-2676 to move Planning and Zoning Commission meeting to the first Monday of each month, starting at 6 p.m.
Second.
Have a motion and a second on the amendment. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Counselor Posey,
Aye.
Counselor Sweeney,
Aye.
Counselor Driver,
Aye.
Counselor Middlebrooks.
Aye.
Counselor McClinton,
Aye.
Counselor Lyda.
Aye, with a vote of 6 ayes and 0 nays. The amendment is noted and the ordinance is adopted. That brings us to the end of our agenda. Open it up for council comments. I'd like to commend the mayor and staff on an incredibly successful Regents Tradition Week. The mayor and I were able to watch the finish this morning on 18, on what concluded a rather soggy event, but as always, such a great time out at Greystone for our golf tournament. And of course, tomorrow, baseball begins in Hoover, tomorrow through Sunday afternoon, with a new format, all single elimination, so we'll see what this does. And we all rooting for a breaking of our 180,000 attendance crowd, which we set last year. Stadium renovations are complete, and I know we all look forward to welcoming folks from all across the Southeastern Conference to the Hoover Met tomorrow. Any comments from the public tonight? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Holly Glasgow. I am with Shelton State Community College out of Tuscaloosa, but working with Alicia from here on Deerfield Drive in Hoover. She was on the regular agenda for resolution number 16, 8365-25, that received 3 nay votes. Could the council provide some background or some clarification on that?
So we're at public comments tonight. You're welcome to make any comments. We'll be here if you'd like to talk to us after the meeting, but
Okay.
this is a time for the council to hear from you on any comments you might have.
Okay, I can provide some comments. We in the state of Alabama have a child care shortage. And the state of Alabama is somewhere around 300,000 child care slots short. So when you have a small business in your area who's trying to move from a group which has 5 children in its care up to, or family of 5 up to group at 12, it does require some additional modifications to the home, things like a sprinkler system. It does require a state fire marshal visit or your local fire marshal, but it is done with the clearance of DHR and their rules and regulations along with your local municipal regulations. But to take a small business, stifle it, and continue to allow childcare to be an issue for workforce development seems to be counterproductive to what a growing municipality would be looking for. I find it a little concerning, quite honestly.
Yeah, if you'll stick around after the meeting, I'm happy to talk to you. I'm sure my colleagues are as well.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Dr. DeFranco.
Thank you. Pete DeFranco, 742 Scout Creek Trail, Hoover, Alabama. June the 1st will mark the first time I ever came before this committee. It was in 2014. And the shops of Hoover, and Mayor, that's where the UABER is at. I know you have a hard time knowing where that shopping center is at when we talk. The shops of Hoover was under construction. And our community lake was getting trashed with sediment. And that was 11 years ago. And I made several presentations up here about the problems we were having. Eventually, I had to get a state legislature involved to get ADAM to get off its butt and examine the containment pond that was being constructed there, and they determined that it had a hole in it. It wasn't constructed properly. So somehow, this process that we have here failed in 2014. And ADAM had to sue the developer. I think the developer ended up having to pay about $30,000, which didn't cover the $100,000 our HOA had to spend to dredge the lake. But I was made a lot of promises, including our mayor, that would never, ever happen again. We were never going to experience something like that ever again in Hoover while he was mayor. And he almost got that promise kept, because when phase 1 was constructed over there, during the 2 years it took to build that, I didn't have to file one single ADAM complaint, not one. The developer, Will Kadish, he took out a $100,000 bond. That was pretty good incentive for him to make sure he didn't mess up our lake. And he didn't. So this Barnwood project comes along. It's got 3 containment ponds on it. It started construction in December 2023, and I've already had to make 72 complaints to ADAM. 72 complaints to ADAM. The ponds there, they're not working. They probably got holes in them too. I found out today they didn't even file those plans with the Jefferson County. So I don't know exactly what's going on at that project, but that project feeds into Hoover, and you guys have a responsibility to get on top of it. I don't know why our ordinances aren't getting enforced, but it's time to start enforcing them. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Paul Hamrick, Middlebrook, again, and I'm sorry, I'll be brief. I've already been up here a good bit, but if anyone has any information about the real cost behind the diamond exchange, that's the thing I'm having a lot of trouble nailing down, because I'm afraid this dramatic increase in debt that I talked about is missing a really, really big chunk of it, and that's the diamond exchange. And lastly, I tell you, I think there's a great answer to the payment of the bills besides me objecting to the consent order. The agenda y'all put out is actually, I'll commend you for it. It's got a great amount of detail. You know, it's what, 160 pages at times, 170 pages, all the backup and all that stuff. Can't you just add 2 or 3 pages of a spreadsheet and put what those bills are every month so they're publicly identified and looked at? I would appreciate it if you did. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Very good. Thank you for your attendance. We're adjourned.